going back to what I was saying, in terms of what I mentioned before, the true measurement also has to do with the fact that picture something that continued from 1 through 10 and is on the 7th step. However, the 7th step may be something that is listed the 100th step that is mixed with the 7th. So something is all over the place. The timing, the continuation is all over the place. Okay? So this has to do with something being counterbalanced to take something backwards is what needs to occur. A lot of reversing, reverting is the answer. This would occur. With a lot of people, in any given element, there's a lot of reversing that needs to be done. And similar to, you know how something or someone's putting on effort they're not supposed to? Somebody's trying to do something they're not supposed to, it's not something.
Somebody's trying to go and notice somebody while somebody's being distracted, somebody's trying to slip the cracks with this nonsense noise they made. These mathers are 100% wrong. They're either 80% wrong, 90% wrong, or 100% wrong on any given element. They haven't done the worst math in terms of doing the math of how people are thinking. Just because people are on overdrive, they're using that to say, oh, look, the person can do this, can do this, can do this, and you know what's going on? The person can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. And even if the person does this, and does this, everything is off. Nothing is the way something is supposed to be. Everything else is also off. Everything else is also off. Nothing is the way something is supposed to be. These groups are viruses to me. Okay? They're viruses. Going back to what I was saying.
And you know what else I noticed too? Many groups, different groups, they have different images of me, of somebody else, of who they are and what they are and how they wanted me to do something. Okay? I didn't fit the image. I fit the totality of overall image, of all images, kind of, you know? And people wondered, oh, why is a person similar to that, you know? Well, the point would be for any image that I am in, that I am fitting generally, the entire point would be for me to get out of all the images that is not me, then ultimately fit in the image of who I am, of what is me. I know a lot of groups, a lot of people may be sad. I'm not going to fit in an image anymore. However, the point is for something or someone to be who they are now, who somebody else wants them to be. So be aware of this in terms of me mentioning this, because I am with correct timing, going back to the cup, the water in the amount, because that is what is basically is needed. Yet, if I do go back to who I am, certain groups may then do different types of counts or disregard various elements.
Some people are playing politics with images.
Of what is true, what is false. So then somebody may make a wrong choice, wrong decision of that. However, me mentioning this, that shouldn't be the case, quote unquote. If I didn't mention it, then people should have continued similar to that particular doing. Numerous doings of me and of somebody else of whatever they've done all has to do with I know what some people are doing. I know why they're signifying OMG too. Because there's a different type of account going on. Of what I'm aware of, what category realistically I fit, and what some people have put me in. Speaking of that. Going back to what I was saying. There's a lot of wrong measurements occurring. Speaking of this, this is what this reminded me of. There's literally, in any given element, there's literally possibly hundreds and thousands of wrong measurements occurring. Wouldn't something or someone want to solve this instead of continuing to keep something going where it doesn't make sense?
I'm aware of that too. Whatever people thought I wasn't aware of. So I'm aware of much more than people realize. And if I'm aware, then something or someone else that possibly claims to be me, they may also be aware. However, should those groups and should those people realistically be aware? Not even for a second. Not even for a second because they haven't proved themselves trustworthy. Okay? A lot of people haven't proven themselves trustworthy, and therefore I don't trust them, therefore no one should trust them. I think if you ask me, those groups are problems. There's specific groups that are problems, and what they want to do is they want to make themselves seem that they're normal and accustomed that they're normal, and even mock people that they're supposedly normal. However, they're not. These groups are abnormal groups. People have to understand that fact. People have to understand that fact. People have to accept that fact and know that these groups, there's specific groups that change, and there's specific groups that play politics with changing. And there's some groups that may not change. They may only give people illusions that they've changed. So people can be passive, be distracted, and do a bunch of wide variety of wrong choices, wrong decisions, and whatever sticks. These groups are only thriving off of whatever sticks. Whatever sticks, they're thriving off of. They go with. Nothing to do with reality. Nothing to do with normality. What reality or normality is. So I believe what's going on in specific moments is some groups they're manipulating and they've attached themselves and different body parts, their brain, and something to a wide variety of people's body parts too, where something or someone is not making sense at all. Somebody that is in a puzzle is attached to somebody else too. That is also an puzzle to them. All this must be reverted and back to everything being a puzzle, how everything is supposed to be. That's how everything will work correctly. Being on puzzles doesn't make sense because people, whatever they're thinking, whatever they're visioning, has nothing to do with reality. Versus people, something is abundantly known and people are not abundantly known. So some people have only given people different types of impressions just to claim that is what is true. However, me connecting the dots, every form of nonsense realistically is what is false, nothing to do with what is true. People did that for people to do things. However, people could do things while that other thing was true too. It doesn't have to be one particular process or one particular doing for people to do something, you know? So a lot of groups are de-evolution realistically, and they've passed lies for truth and made seem though that that's the standard, that's what is normal, and whatever you do, that will also be the standard. That is also will be normal too. A lot, what I'm sensing is a lot of cheating, wrongdoing, wrong attachments on people that shouldn't be attached, manipulations in subtle, sophisticated styles that you may not even realize. Not knowing who you are, you may think something is stemming from you in any given moment, in any given element. And so, whoever's behind all this type of stuff, technology, they must be known because they cannot be violating something wrongly. They cannot be causing issues wrongly. Nothing will work correctly. Some people are trying to go with one particular doing or process. When that fails, then they want to go with something else. That's a problem because something has a need to be with a specific doing and how something is supposed to be. Yet, how something is supposed to be, some people are going with all the way with whatever they can, then changing to how something is supposed to be, and too late. Won't work. They're flirting with a dangerous phenomena that they don't even understand, yet they're doing something that they don't understand. Some people are rushing to judgment without seeing something all the way through, They're not seeing the result. Some people are disagreeing without understanding one another. They're disagreeing to something that is not understood, not spoken about. How can you disagree with something not understood, not spoken about? You haven't seen the finish. However, look, there's something that you don't have to finish. You don't have to agree on or disagree on, depending on whom you may, arrive across to. Everything is different. However, generally, remember, everything I say is generally true.
Welcome to the ultimate web creation platform for the pros. We'll run through the basics of creating a site on Editor X. Before we get started, let's take a look at your workspace. Choose from one of our in-house design templates, or start from scratch with a blank canvas. Your canvas is wide and intuitive, with a smooth drag and drop interface. The top bar of your canvas is filled with tools and functions to help you manage it. Welcome to the ultimate web creation platform. Basics of creating a site on Editor X. Before we get started, let's look at your workspace. Choose from one of our in-house design templates, or start from scratch with a blank canvas. Your canvas is wide and intuitive, with a smooth drag and drop interface. The top bar of your canvas is filled with tools and functions to help you manage your site and access our resources. Welcome to the ultimate web creation platform for the pros. We'll run through the basics of creating a site on Editor X. Before we get started, let's take a look at your workspace. Choose from one of our in-house design templates, or start from scratch with a blank canvas.
Some people may say, "Oh, well, you're unaware of something, or you're aware of something, or you didn't understand something." Well, I was aware of something. I understood something. However, there was many more other elements to the story that some people, I believe, are disregarding. That may be the issue.
Welcome to the ultimate web creation platform for the pros. We'll run through the basics of creating a site on Editor X. Before we get started, let's take a look at your workspace. Choose from one of our in-house design templates.
There's a group of people. There's groups of people possibly that are entirely wrong. Okay, they think they're correct. They've adapted to what is true. They've copied. They've mimicked. They changed. They rearranged. They minus. They plus. They're liars. They think they're correct. They're trying to maintain a narrative. They're wrong. Entirely wrong. And they've infected a bunch of people to possibly believe a bunch of lies. Who are those groups? Okay? Everything I've said is true and correct. Who are those groups? Those groups to me are viruses. Definition of a virus. Look that up. And I'm going to look that up too. You know why? That's exactly what those groups are to me. They're similar to a virus. You know what they're doing? They're being allowed to do whatever they're doing with whatever they're doing. And of course, being allowed to do whatever they're doing, people then don't act. You know, something is not natural, something is fixed. People don't know what is what. That may be their game. Yep, those groups are viruses. Specific groups to me, they're viruses. Nothing new here. They go around various places and they spread the disease and infect people to be something that they're not. And try to make people believe a bunch of lies, partake in a bunch of lies, and create a bunch of lies.
Your canvas is wide and intuitive, with a smooth drag and drop interface. The top bar of your canvas is filled with tools and functions to help you manage your site and access our resources. Under Site, you can see your site history, transfer your site ownership to someone else, open your dashboard, and more. The Tools tab gives you access to your design libraries, customizable collections.
There shouldn't be in anybody's life. All these viruses need to get away. Oh, Wherever the planet is, all these viruses need to dissipate from people's lives, stay far, far away.
Here, you can turn on dev mode. This gives you access to Editor X's fully
Wherever the puzzle is, wherever the natural equilibrium is.
You can build and deploy web applications efficiently using your own JavaScript code on a built-in IDE. Under Help, you'll find access to resources like the Help Center, our Community X forum, and our educational hub, Academy X. Share your feedback directly with the product team or contact customer care to request any. Your blank canvas, by default, contains a header, section, and footer. Sections are large, flexible containers that hold many.
People are doing different types of tests. They're doing different types of tests to see ultimately what element is what, and to hold upper hand on one another, possibly. Saying, oh, well, look, this element, this person could have lost, this element, this person could have lost, this element, this person lost. This is what we can do, this is what we can do, this is what we can do. Should we do this, this, or this? Remember, everything and anything, whatever anything is, all has to be truth and true direction in terms of heaven on earth being manifested and created. Absolute. Everything has to change according to absolute. Everything else is false. You know? Don't attempt to try to see life with your skewed perception or perspective and make a decision thereof.
This brings us to the creation part. First up is the add tab.
Everything is possible.
You can add elements, save design assets, compositions, layout tools, and more. You can also add text, buttons,
Everything is possible. The only thing that's not possible
media,
is and has to do with
forms, and embedded HTML.
tampering, forbidden elements, mixing in the process, live reactions, live opinions, nonsense games.
Stores,
What people are accustomed to, what they're doing, that they think is normal. Feeding, temporary possibly.
you'll find that
Temporary receiving powers, picking and choosing,
the layers
influencing and manipulating and having a wrong effect, giving people illusions, possibly, so people can yet again do some type of nonsense, abnormal thing, yet again gain some type of power, yet again do the same stupid thing.
section.
That's the virus of what's going on. Okay?
Streamline your creation flow. Changes you make to Webmaster will apply everywhere it sees on the site. Use the Pages panel to add and navigate between the pages on your site. Select the three dots to rename, duplicate, and edit the page.
I think some people are slowly, surely, quickly, whatever how possible they can, attempting to manipulate something or someone in specific elements, you know? All has to be known who those groups are. If they're unjust, they're feeding some type of unjust going on too. So the entire point is the fact that something has to be realistically true
And this is where you can add integrated
for everything to work out correctly. So while realistically everything is true, some groups, what they're doing is having wrong effects, wrong influences in specific elements, specific moments on specific people, dragging people or forcing people to do something else in that specific element, specific moment, and then fitting people in their narratives and justifying their wrongdoings on that particular element. When something is going backwards instead of moving forward. That's why, regardless of anything, whatever is going on in all elements, whatever anything is, if something is true and people are true and people are doing what is true in general, generally speaking, then all things, whatever anything may be, will work itself out, whatever anything is.
There are many ways to structure each section of your site,
All it has to do with
or add them to your design library. Tools and more. Share your feedback with these efficiently.
all it has to do with
Own JavaScript code on the built
people that are influencing and affecting people wrongly and infecting other people to also influence and affect them wrongly too.
under Help, you'll find access to
Oh yeah, you know what else I'm noticing too? Some people are saying, okay, well, let's go with this, let's go with this, let's go with this, and let's go with all of this so we can win. Well, you can't win wrongly. You can only win being true. Whatever people are doing, they're paving way for some type of a thing to occur. What are you paving way for? The truth to be manifested, or somebody also telling them some type of lies, or the lies can be manifested too. People are supposed to be truth. You're supposed to be paving way for truth to occur, so truth can be manifested. So people may say, okay, well, I'm going to go with this. In case he loses on this, I'll be able to win similar to this. Whatever that particular thing may be. Yet, doing that, feeding those specific elements in that particular element too. And doing that, not going with what is true, the truth is having a wrong effect. People are not guiding truth, not being truth, not feeding truth. So therefore, they're doing something else, and something else may be being manifested, maybe growing, and then having a wrong effect on what is true. That's the phenomena of what is occurring. The entire time, I've been dealing with too many nonsense things, all because of wrong choices, wrong decisions people are making in any given element. Okay? I've been literally taking hits for no reason. All false. All can be avoided too.
Our Community X forum, and our educational hub, Academy X. The product is or contact customer care to request any. Your blank canvas by default is a header, section, and footer. Sections are large that hold any element.
A lot of groups, we know what they did. They tried to incite fear and threats and did a bunch of buyouts with whatever they had stuck, and all were lies. All were lies. Okay? Yet some people believed all these lies. They chewed up all these lies. They partook in all these lies, made decisions and choices with all these lies, grew all those groups. You know, grew all those lies. You know what happened when they grew all those lies? Those lies gained power and misused and abused and used people. And if they went against me, they know they're wrong on my behalf and everybody's behalf. That's karmic stuff, whatever they did. All this intent will be known. Puzzle pieces, in terms of exactly what everything is, will be. And everything will be with formula in terms of what the formula is. In regards of anything, the truth will be from most top to least bottom. Most merit to less merit, least merit. Most power to least power. Most advantages to least advantages. Most everything to least everything. And in time, the point will be to whoever is least everything, realistically being the lies that they were. The point in time would be then to change and to do good works to then raise from something less to something more. That's what will be. Yet they cannot then attempt to drag anybody in the process with them. And whoever is mislabeled, that's at the bottom or whatever anything is, all has to be known so they can be distinguished and go to the top. And those who are at the top that are realistically supposed to be at the bottom, tables turn.
This brings us to the creation bar. First up is the add bar. From here, you can add elements, save design assets, compositions, layout tools, and more. You can also add text, buttons, custom menus, media, decorative elements, forms, and embedded HTML code and social icons. Underneath, you'll find all your built-in business solutions, blogs, stores, booking systems, event managers, and a members area. And lastly, you'll find the Editor X Content Manager. Next, you have the Layers panel. This is where you can
You know what else I'm noticing too? I'm noticing the fact that there's groups that are saying, hey, wait. There's groups saying, no, we want more. We'll continue. The wait groups are correct. Everything being naturally, being flow, being the way something is supposed to be without any form of interruption whatsoever is correct. Everything else in terms of what these groups are doing, these parasites, these viruses that I call, they're going around having a wrong effect, they're causing more problems than good. They're problematic. they're supposed to be dealt with accordingly in how whatever they're doing because they're having a wrong effect. If you ask me, all these wrongdoers deliberately causing harm, they're realistically responsible for jeopardizing the entirety of me and somebody else. That today there's a blank canvas instead of a on dot on point canvas. Everything on dot on point, being true and correct, and people knowing and following through on something. That's the difference of what people didn't see. This could have happened over a year ago, if not more, a while ago. There's nothing new, in other words, in that particular element. And then people may say, "Oh, look, how about those other groups that did that, that did that, that did that?" Then they start comparing to everybody. They start saying, "Oh, those groups were wrong. They were wrong. They were wrong. They were wrong. They were different types of wrong, and we were a different type of wrong." Well, different types of wrong had different types of equalizations and influences and effects. And those particular groups that were violators and arrived in people's lives and had wrong effects emotionally or physically, because emotional can be physical too. Stop me and something, and me and something or someone else to realistically, all these issues occurred. In other words, all these problems that people know and understand, all these things occurred because of those people from day one till today. And yet they don't want me to mention this. And guess what? I'm going to mention this again. They can't hide from the truth. They had a very wrong effect and they were warned and they continued and they persisted and they had wrong effects. And today there's a huge problem because of those particular groups. Remember, in terms of aiming, everybody's supposed to work everything out realistically and change everything wrong to make something correct. However, when there's wrong groups going in the midst and doing irrelevant wrong effects and influences through the midst every single day, over and over and over again, you can't blame them. You can definitely blame them. Because they know that to refrain from doing something, yet they do something also. And the effects, the influences that they're having is every single day, they're doing something and claiming, "Oh, look, we're doing something with a purpose." However, doing something with a pro and a con, where the con is much more worse than the pro of what they're doing. The con is outweighing the pro of what they're doing every single day. They're having a huge wrong effect. And they may say, "Oh, well, something is tiny of what they're doing, you know?" However, it does not matter. It's having a huge effect because people haven't recovered, people haven't gotten out of their predicaments, people haven't restored correctly in how they're supposed to function, and people didn't heal correctly either. So this left room for a lot of errors, and this is still the problem today in terms of the cons that they're doing. They may say, "Oh, look, you know, a couple things here and there are good." Realistically, what is a couple things versus the damages that they created is this much, and the couple things is this much, and they want to say, "No, this is the pros and this is the cons." No, the pros is the damages of what they've done, and these are the cons realistically that they've done. So something is worse than good, and I don't agree with them. They're not needed. Even if the good thoughts are born in this and that, it has nothing to do with anything. You know why? Because all you have to do is be the answer. The only reason that they say they're needed is because they're creating problems and they're creating problems on top of their problems to say this is needed for the problem that was needed for the other problem. They're logical. Mentally ill, if you ask me. Their arguments are very, very weak. They're not able to fool me. They won't be able to fool me either.
All the elements on your page and how they're ordered. The hierarchy defines how the elements interact with each other. Head over to the Masters panel.
In other words, some people create, similar to what I was mentioning yesterday and before, some people are creating problems of the problems that they're creating, then claiming something is needed. When something is realistically something is realistically unneeded of what they're doing. Okay? Many people, numerous times, what they're doing is they're literally adding on and creating more problems than there needs to be. And you know what type of effect that's having? A very, very adverse effect, where something is realistically better to not be thought out or done, not even for a second, Yeah, in other words, people are making a lot of wrong choices, wrong decisions. They're not understanding something correctly. It doesn't seem though. I don't have to hear something wrong. There's technology. I can see something wrong and talk an emphasis to that. And have the same effect. So, somebody says, oh, well, this is just, this is fair. Endure this, because if you endure this, then this person will endure this too. I'm not going to endure that. I don't want to endure that. I'm not even supposed to get accustomed to that. And yet alone, the other person is not supposed to be accustomed to that too, or endure that either. A lot of people, they're lied to. Okay? A lot of people are lied to, and everybody's believing some type of a lie. They're aware of a math. They're unaware of another math. They're unaware that people know them, are aware of them, that they think no one's aware of them. People get this type of effect and wave throughout the midst, throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. None of that is the point. The point is just to understand realistically. Because who's aware of them is also another person aware of them too. Everything is interconnected. Where if some type of decision is made, another decision is made also. However, the entire point, the entire calling is why should anybody make a choice or decision nothing to do with what the truth is? Why should you be able to want to do whatever you want to do if something is not true? Will be a problem. That problem will be another problem. Another problem will be another problem, and another problem will be another problem. Nothing will get fixed this particular doing. There's no point. Defeats the purpose, in other words. And no one's supposed to go against any form of purpose of whatever they're doing. So you know what else I'm noticing? There's a bunch of wrongdoers. They're entirely wrong. Yet they've somehow flipped the script and made it seem though the truth is somehow wrong. Various wrong maths, nothing to do with reality. There's also this belief game going on. And this belief game has nothing to do with reality. People are saying, oh, well, that person is doing that, so I could do this too. They don't understand that person is doing everything with a purpose. They have hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of elements of what they're doing, of how they're doing something. Or it's all adding on to everything else that they've done. Versus some groups that are like, oh, look, hey, surface level, they see something and they're like, oh, I can do that too, and have no purpose, have no justification of what they're doing, and everything is off of what they're doing. No understanding whatsoever behind their basis of what they're doing. A lot of people gave weird reactions throughout the entire time, and it wasn't their fault. Because something or someone failed to mention that, hey, you know what? You guys are giving weird reactions. Maybe something was mentioned later. And that all has to do with the way people were affected and influenced, whether their train of thought or mind was there. They may have been multitude of elements that were occurring that had nothing to do with reality. So if there's a lot of people that think that people are wrong, think again. They may not be wrong. They may be mislabeled wrong. So all has to be known, all has to be understood correctly, and all has to be exactly where everything belongs. Not how you want things to belong, how something is supposed to be. That is how what people are supposed to do to understand the approach correctly, to be able to deal with something correctly, for then something to be fixed, be healed, and get out of predicaments and be where they're realistically supposed to be. Not the way you want something to be, because the way you want something to be, possibly a high ratio, will not be what something is. So people are supposed to understand that fact, respect what is true. Therefore, when they know what is true, apply the answers, apply what is true. Many definitions are off, many labels are off. Not everything is the way something is supposed to be. Even if people are so sure that they know for sure that something is exactly the way something is, you may be mistaken. Think again, retry again, redo again, re-understand, reevaluate something, because doing so, there's going to be more things you're going to uncover. With all this said, in terms of solving everything, is the answer. The problem, again, in all of this is just be aware of political players, people that play with people that are changing, not allowing the change to be, mixing, tampering, emotionally or physically, and forbidden elements, light reactions, light opinions, nonsense games. And of course, you got the phenomenon on top of everything where you don't even have to even create a problem, yet there's thousands and millions and billions of problems in any given minute of time. Just because you may not be experiencing some type of wrong result, wrong effect, doesn't equal something or someone else isn't. Up. Up. It's funny. Some type of weird bets are going on. People that are stationed themselves in various places, various locations, that I was mentioning earlier. You know what I think is occurring also? I'm not kidding you. Every second, every minute, every hour counts of whatever anybody's doing. You know, are they worrying? Are they stressing? But you know what you're feeding? Worry and stress. Yes, people can worry. Yes, people can stress. That's a human instinct, you know, to have emotions. The problem is people are definitely supposed to get out of those predicaments and not be able to be in those particular elements. Something may have been correct on something or someone else, of however their elements were. However, something was wrong on me, you know. So why should I mess with the wrong math or infect myself with the wrong math? Seems though many doings of whatever anything may be, what was occurring realistically is people were being influenced and affected. A lot of doings, a lot of processes fit in a lot of wrong groups' narrative, where they literally make themselves appear or seem that they're supposedly correct. However, they're not correct at all. And when you look at the elements of everything, when you look at the elements of some type of a surface level, whatever is going on, you know, it seems though that they're correct. However, when you look at everything with everything, they're wrong. Some people went all the way of whatever they did. I don't want to use that word. Some people went all the doing of whatever they did, correction, and doing so, then turn around to change or do something where something made sense for one group or one person or one individual or many groups, depending on the elements, the timing, the everything. Then other people did the similar thing or whatever they did and were entirely wrong. All has to do with elements in terms of what everything was. And so the important matter of this would be where everything is being solved correctly. So this can be solved and something can be moved forward instead of being stagnant. Because a lot of people are being observed, being watched, and people are observing and watching them and claiming, "Well, look at what you guys are doing." You guys are blaming us. Look at what you guys are doing, and everything all matters with elements. Beliefs, what people are focusing on, what they experienced. You know, all everything matters. Yet some people disregard this, and there's a huge problem because they disregard this. People are supposed to respect people's elements and beliefs and understandings and what experiences and what they went through. This is what people don't want to know. This is what people are trying to hide them. They're trying to possibly make something or someone seem that they're wrong. Some people want to know you more than better than you know yourself. Be aware of that too, who those groups are. People did different types of bets, and the bets had to change because something didn't make sense anymore. Versus bets that they kept that possibly still made sense and didn't have to change. Maybe had to change very little. So something similar to that may have occurred. So all these elements matter definitely. And yet some people say, "Oh, who cares? Doesn't matter about those groups, those people. For long everybody's being the change, for long everything and everyone is putting the effort for something to work, something will be guaranteed to work, and something will not only work correctly, will work very, very effectively. Okay? So what people need to realistically do is think about all the effort, all the work people put into anything. And now imagine people disregarding that. Can you imagine if everybody did that? Nothing will work correctly. Yeah, what's going on is I'm sensing a lot of lack of understanding. There's lack of understanding people that have been the problem the entire time. I'm not talking about people that don't understand. I'm talking about people that don't understand, don't want to understand, possibly, and are playing politics with all that. You know, making wrong choices, wrong decisions is one thing. Of whatever they may be making wrong choices, wrong decisions are on, and playing politics and making wrong decisions and not wanting to. In other words, more wrong than good. They're not, and they possibly got those groups have got this mixed with something or someone else. So some people have gotten something mixed. Some people are comparing one thing to another thing that has nothing to do with one another. So that may be the issue. So remember, these are very, very significant elements in terms of people realizing or thinking that they know something. However, may not know anything, and whatever they do know is entirely off. Some people may be watching people and copying people. Okay? Anything that's not a puzzle shouldn't be in anybody's life. That's the answer. Whoever's life anything or anyone is has to be a puzzle. Unless something is dangerous, something is out of control, and something is wrong, that makes sense. However, be aware of those people that are correct and true are mislabeled, and some people then say, "Oh, you're dangerous, you have control," and so on and so forth to put on puzzles in your life. Be aware of that. Remember, this everything I'm saying is exactly how everything will change accordingly to how everything will realistically work out and make sense. I want to go outside, Marty. Let's go. So if some people lose or whatever they do, if people are playing some type of politic game, then they'll have different chances or different things to try to then win something or someone over or something. In other words, people want me to believe a bunch of lies. Seems like people want me to believe some type of lies. Seems like to then forward their narrative or math or agenda. Something similar to that may be going on. If that's going on with me, that's going on to a lot of people. Do as a Totahane? What the fuck is this, man? Virus. Some people are really, really weird, man. The part of the problem of why nothing is working out correctly. Yeah, if anybody's being messed with, similar to whatever these virus groups are doing to survive off of people, then all these people, all these viruses are wrong. What's wrong with the bots? These viruses, be aware of them. They'll go all the way with whatever they're doing, and they won't stop. And then they'll try to change last minute. They're guilty of literally everything I've mentioned, perhaps, and possibly have infected a wide variety of people wrongly too. Something's wrong with them. No one should be suffering because of these groups. No one.